If you've heard about the 60K or more in 6 months or less Salesforce Career Development Program, this is going to be a great video for you to watch. So this is actually going to be a recording of a live demo that I just wrapped up with a potential member who is now a member of the program. So this is going to walk you through a typical demo call where we're walking you through what the program does and why it's so valuable. And so I hope you enjoy this video. I hope it gives you some clarity on what our Salesforce Career Development Program is all about. And of course, as with any video, make sure to leave a comment down in the comments below. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's LinkedIn/n/Brad Force. And I'm happy to connect with you and message with you about any questions that you have about anything. Thanks for watching. 6-month program. So we call it 60K in 6 months. And really the design behind this is our goal is to get you to a place where you're making $60,000 or more in 6 months or less. And so far, with our members up to this point, we're seeing more of an average of right around 4 months from starting the program to landing their first jobs. But of course, we like to leave 6 months in place. Number one, it's kind of a nice name, 60K in 6 months. Number two, if it takes you 4 months, then all we've done is over-delivered and under-promised and over-delivered. So I'm perfectly happy to over-deliver. So I wouldn't expect, and you shouldn't expect, this to take a full 6 months. There is no start date. So for instance, you don't need to wait to get in on November 1st. Everyone comes in and we have enough members joining each week that even though we don't technically do it in cohorts and we don't technically say, hey, this is our November cohort, there are enough people joining each week that you're always going to be aligned with people who are at your level or at your pace in the journey. So, hey, we all started this particular week. We'll get you into a study group to get your certification. And we love to use study groups, and I'll talk a little bit about that more in a moment. But so just to point out, there's no specific start date. There's nothing like that. You can join anytime. And you don't have to, we have a pacing guide, and I can show you that. But basically what it does is it tells you what you need to be doing each week to stay on track for this particular program. So it'll take you through, week 2 and so on, and it just keeps going. So it'll take you through, I believe it's the first 9 weeks are detailed out for you. So as far as this is what you should have done last week, make sure you're updating LinkedIn, make sure you're continuing through your certification study materials, make sure you're getting signed up for the Certification Days webinar. So for the first 9 weeks, you basically don't even have to think outside of, I don't want you worried about, do I need to do this or do I need to do that? Or am I doing the right things? You shouldn't have to worry about that. Your focus should be, I'm getting my certification. And if you already have one certification, we can give you a pacing guide to get your second certification. If you, want to focus more on your LinkedIn profile and things like that, we don't want you thinking about the process as much as we want you just following the steps and going, okay, I'm focused on LinkedIn. I'm focused on the certification. And then next steps are, I'm focused on volunteer projects. I'm focused on making sure that my interview skills are on point. And so we want you to be progressing, but we don't ever want you to have to think, am I doing the right things? Am I following the right process? We want all of that to just naturally happen for you. So that's what the pacing guide is for, is to keep you on track without you having to think too much about whether or not you're following the right steps. Does that make sense? All right. So,
sorry, I'm muted.
No,
so yes, it does.
That's okay.
Sense.
All right. I sort of assumed, so that is perfectly fine. So let's, so taking a step back from there. So again, there's no specific start time. You just move through at your own pace. So if you follow the program pacing guide, we are looking for you to spend about 10 hours a week, specifically following the steps and moving through the process. So at 10 hours a week for the first about 10 weeks is what we're looking for. And that by the end of those 10 weeks, even if you've never heard of Salesforce before, we want you at a position where you've got your Salesforce certification, your LinkedIn profile and your resume are top of the line, very impressive. And as soon as you finish out the 10 weeks, 2.5 months in, you're certified and you have a LinkedIn profile and resume that are showcasing your skills. So that means now you're ready for building your resume through volunteer projects. So it's actually going to give you real world experience, something to put on a resume. It makes you a better interviewer because you're more confident in your skills and you've actually seen real world Salesforce orgs and worked on real requirements. So that's where we progress you after you've gotten your certification. So you can sort of see that the pacing guide will point you into the modules, but we take you through getting your first certification. We take you through the practice exams for your certification. We take you through updating your LinkedIn profile to be perfect. And then we want you to do it first and move through the steps. But once you feel like you've done everything you can and you've got it where it needs to be, we will actually do a LinkedIn profile review for you and we'll give you feedback. We'll make a video for it. And so we'll do a video of your LinkedIn profile. We'll tell you everything that you need to do. And a lot of times, if you need it, we'll even supply you with a background photo for your LinkedIn profile specific to you. So I could show you, for instance, if we go to LinkedIn, I could show you some ones that we worked on recently. So Ryan is one of our members that we worked on. And you can see, so we created this background picture for him. So it just showcases you more and it stands out more than a typical LinkedIn profile for anyone else, so that everything stands out. So we don't just have a picture, we have text information up here that is just showcasing these top 3 bullet points that make you valuable. And that's what LinkedIn's all about. It's not so much about telling people your story. It's about telling potential employers why you're so valuable and why they need to hire you to work for them. So it's a lot about that, but we'll go through, we'll give you the exact verbiage for your about section. We'll tell you exactly how to fill in your experience, and just everything in between. We talk to you about how to engage properly on LinkedIn. So you can see, if I'm a potential employer, I'm going to come look at Ryan and I can see that he's very engaged. He's talking to other people about Salesforce stuff. And I can see that he's actually a Salesforce person and not just somebody looking for a job who happens to have a Salesforce certification, that kind of thing. So that's what we want to do with LinkedIn. So
what is the difference between a Salesforce person?
Yeah, so a Salesforce person, so you're probably familiar with the term, the Salesforce Ohana. And a lot of people just think, oh, that's a branding thing for Salesforce. Well, it is, but it's also not. So to me, a Salesforce person, there's 2 different people. There's somebody with a Salesforce certification who wants me to give them a job as a Salesforce administrator. And that's one type of person. That's fine. Maybe they have the skills to do the job and they can come in and they can get it done on day 1. And that's great. And then there is somebody who I would refer to as a member of the Salesforce Ohana, someone who is passionate about Salesforce. And this profile tells me that you're passionate about Salesforce. And what is it that stands out to me? So number 1, I can see that you've spent a lot of time on this profile and showcasing yourself. You call yourself a Salesforce admin. That's all fine. But then you come down here and you talk about everything is very specific to Salesforce. You'll just see, how many times Salesforce is mentioned, and why it's also driven towards Salesforce. And that's all great. But then, do you actually care about Salesforce as a person? All right, so let's find out. Well, in your activity, let me go look at Ryan's activity here. Okay, so somebody named Holly is talking about Salesforce and Ryan's commenting on this. People are, I'm going through here, you wouldn't know who I am outside of this. So, all right, somebody made a video about Salesforce and, Ryan's going through and commenting and liking all of this stuff. So I'm quickly seeing that Ryan is an involved member of the Salesforce community. He's not just a guy who knows Salesforce. He's actually involved in his free time and in his time outside of work. He is still spending time on Salesforce topics, reading Salesforce articles, looking at Salesforce posts, commenting on them, engaging with them. He's obviously not just someone who wants a job because he knows Salesforce. He's someone who, yes, wants a job, but this is the type of person who they're going to work for me from 8 to 5. And then after that, they're going to go on LinkedIn and talk to people about Salesforce, and Facebook and talk to people about Salesforce. And they're going to go read articles about Salesforce and what are the new feature updates and all those types of things. That's who I want working for me. Like, I don't want someone who, when it's 4:55, they're shutting their computer down. I want someone who's excited to do Salesforce work for my company. And your LinkedIn profile, it can be a resume and just sit out there and be a static resume that shows what you did at your old job. Or it can show so much more, and it can show people that here's my resume, but that's not where this stops. I am part of the Salesforce community. I'm serious about Salesforce. I'm passionate about it. And I want to bring my passion for Salesforce to your company. And that's when you get a stellar employee who is really excited about their job and not just doing it because they want a paycheck on Friday. So I hope that makes sense for the difference between someone who wants a job and a real Salesforce Ohana member.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's what we do. And you'll even see in the, actively, so here's a section right here, actively engaging on LinkedIn. So we've got a 15-minute video specifically about building your brand. So if you don't feel like you're part of the Ohana coming into the program, you will by the time you get out. Number one, it's because we have our Salesforce Ohana within the program. So everyone inside the program, and I'll show you the Facebook group in a moment. So we have a members only group, and there's just so much positivity and like camaraderie and working together and being part of study groups and being part of, we even have volunteer project groups where you work together to share the responsibility of some of these volunteer projects. So you just end up being part of a family of people, a tight-knit group of people who are all going through the same process together with the same end result in mind. And you just end up being part of a group of people who are all passionate about the same things. But we go through how to, posting regularly. And if I told you to go post on LinkedIn, that's easy enough. But I want to tell you examples of the types of things you can post and how you can think about posting and really creating things that are engaging for the Salesforce community. And this is all about building your brand. This is all about connecting with other Salesforce professionals, putting your name out there so that we've had 2 of our members be interviewed for positions that they didn't even apply for. They literally, their LinkedIn profile was creating enough attention and they were getting in front of enough people that they didn't even apply for jobs, but people reached out to them and said, hey, I saw you on LinkedIn. I like some of the stuff you're posting. It looks like you're actually looking for a job right now, potentially. And we would love to bring you on as our Salesforce administrator. Would you like to interview? So the power of a LinkedIn profile is far beyond a resume. It gives you the ability to actually, influence other people, to talk to other people, and to showcase yourself as a person, rather than just, here are my skills. I hope these check the boxes for your job requirements. It's a lot about showing people your personality and who you are so that they could see themselves working with a person like you. And that's just as important as actually having the skills, is someone who's desirable to sit beside in an office and work with them 40 hours a week. That's just as important as actually knowing how to do your job. Because if they don't enjoy working with you or don't see themselves, sitting in meetings with you during the day, then that can count you out, even though that can seem a little unfair. We teach you how to connect with other people on LinkedIn. We teach you the importance of joining groups, why liking and commenting on other people's posts is so important, even though it may feel meaningless. It may feel like you're just clicking a button and that's all it is. But it's all about the psychology of how people function on social media. And LinkedIn is a professional social media platform. And when you can get behind the psychology of it, of constantly, when people see you liking and commenting on their material, it just gives them this little boost of positivity to say, so when they see your name over and over again, and it's a like, it's a comment, you're sharing their information. They sort of get this conditioning of, I like this person likes me, so I kind of like them. And they're not competing with me. They're somebody who's supporting me. And when you can develop those relationships without ever even knowing someone, that's when you can use the power of social media to your benefit. And those can create some really long-term connections. It might start as a like and a comment and a share, and then lead to a conversation, and then lead to a phone call talking about positions that are available at their company. So you never know where those can lead. So the more the merrier, as long as you're creating positive relationships with other people. And then we even go into telling you how to write LinkedIn articles, which is sort of the next level of, number one, showcasing your skills, building a portfolio. So if you can talk about, one of the topics we consider here is my Salesforce journey. That's an easy one, right? Because everyone in this program is on a Salesforce journey. So if you can write about what you're doing and how you're improving yourself and how you're taking your skills to the next level, those can be easy things to write about because it's part of your everyday life, but also it's a great way to show potential employers how dedicated you are and how serious you are about your career. That you're not just making a post about it and you don't just have a LinkedIn profile and resume. You're actually taking time to write articles about the things that you're doing and why those things are so important and to you as a person and those kind of things. And it can really, again, change the way you're perceived and create a brand for you on LinkedIn, which is a really powerful tool. So it shouldn't be overlooked. And once we get you through your LinkedIn profile, that's when we get into volunteer projects. And we want you to find these volunteer projects on your own. And a lot of people stumble on this because they say, I don't really have time to volunteer. Like I have a full-time job. Or why would I want to volunteer for free? I'm trying to make money, not give away work. And it all goes together. And so the first hurdle is I don't have enough time. That's why we have the volunteer groups, is so that you may not be able to meet at 3 p.m. on a weekday, but somebody in your volunteer project group might be able to. So they can be in the meetings, they can talk to you after hours, they can send you emails, let you know how the project's going, give you deliverables like, hey, we got these 3 requirements today. Can you knock these out by Friday? And of course you can. So it allows you to do volunteer work and be involved in projects without having over the top commitments from an hours perspective. But really with the volunteer projects anyway, we're typically seeing that if you can dedicate 5 to 10 hours a week, then that is suitable for volunteer projects. The more you can dedicate, the more they'll take from you, of course. But 5 to 10 hours a week seems to be a good baseline for getting you in the door. The other thing is we do want you to find these on your own, but we believe these strategies work so well that if you're using them and you're not finding volunteer projects, then we will actually assign you volunteer projects because we have a nonprofit alliance where we work with nonprofits with Salesforce, and we can get you assigned to some of our nonprofits who need some help on Salesforce projects. So effectively, we are guaranteeing you real world experience with Salesforce, which is a huge resume builder, allows you to polish your skills and become more confident. You can get letters of recommendation, and it allows you to sit in interviews and talk about the real world experiences that you've had with Salesforce and not just practice knowledge from Trailhead and things like that. And the other thing I'll note is all of the volunteer projects are 100% remote. So you never have to worry about, well, I live over here and I can't be there, whatever else it may be. They're always remote. So you don't have to worry about where you're located depending on where the project is. And the last thing we do, and this sort of moves you through this process, and it's we teach you how to find the jobs that you're qualified for. A lot of people trip on this because they get tripped up when somebody says, we need 2 years experience, or we want 3 certifications. And they get tripped up because they stop right there and they back out and they go, no, I don't have 2 years experience. I guess I have to go look for a different position. And it's just not true. So we actually teach you to dissect the job requirements and truly understand them. And we want you to apply for jobs that you're qualified for and ignore what the employers are asking for to an extent. So if they're saying, we want a 4-year college degree, we want 2 years of Salesforce experience, I want you to ignore all those things. And I want you to focus on what they're asking for. We need someone to set up reports and dashboards. We need someone to onboard new users and do end user training. We need someone to be able to customize automations for us. And when you go down the list and you realize 70% of the things they're asking you to do, you're fully capable of, you just don't have a college degree, it doesn't matter. And no one actually cares. It's just part of these boilerplate templates that they're dropping into these job requirements. And the fact is, if you can get on the phone with them, they're not going to ask you what your GPA was at college 10, 20 years ago. They care more about your Salesforce skills and the fact that you can actually complete the job. And so that's how we teach you to sort of navigate the job requirements and understand that there's a lot more jobs out there than you think you're qualified for. And let the employers count you out. Don't count yourself out by not applying for some of these positions. And then outside of that, we're going to take you through the interview process. We're going to make sure you're comfortable with on-site interviews, virtual interviews, and we'll even handle mock interviews. If you feel like you need some extra help, you'd like some feedback, we can even do mock interviews with you to make sure you're 100% confident when you move into that. The other thing is for the LinkedIn reviews, so we do group coaching calls. I'll start with this. We do group coaching calls once a week. And this allows you to ask questions about where you're at in the process. It allows you to, here's my LinkedIn profile. Does this look, like I'm doing the right things? I'm stuck on a particular question or module and Trailhead that is confusing for me. Of course, you can use the members only Facebook group to ask those questions any day. But if you like to ask them in a live session, you can do it then. And then this Thursday, tomorrow on our session, we're doing a specific workshop on LinkedIn profiles. So we're asking everybody to come prepared to have their LinkedIn profile set up, and then we're going to walk through how to get that underway. Even though it's in the course materials, some people just like a live session to go through things. And so that's what we're doing this Thursday. And then we'll decide next Thursday what we want to do based on what people want to see. So we might do interview tips, or we might do, maybe we'll go through some practice exams and study for the certification as a group. So it's all about what people are needing and what they're asking for. And that's what the weekly calls are for. On top of that, and if you can't make the weekly calls, they're all recorded. So you'll be able to come through and see all of the call recordings right here in the group, as well as the Facebook group. And then you can also come in and look at things like LinkedIn profile reviews we've done for other members. So if you're maybe not quite ready to have your profile reviewed yet, you can still come through and see what we've done for other members right here inside of it. And you can actually see us pull it together and build a template for them, telling them exactly what to put in their about section and their profile photos and all this kind of thing. So I know I've gone for a while now, but I definitely wanted to walk you through that and make sure you had an understanding of what the group was. And then I can take you really quickly just to make sure we cover all the bases. I'll take you into the 6-month program in Facebook, and you can see here's a LinkedIn profile review right here you can watch. You can see we've got like 76 comments here of everybody introducing themselves, talking to each other about getting involved in study groups and things like that. We definitely take time to celebrate each other. Even the smallest achievements are extremely important because all of those things snowball into the main goal, which is landing your first job. And then I also want to point out, but before we finish up here, is that we don't stop at your first job. That's definitely our main goal. But after you're done with the program and landing your first job, we will give you the opportunity to move forward from there. And we actually have a program where we'll take you from, we call it the 60K to 6 figures, where we'll take you from wherever you are today to making 6 figures of income as a Salesforce professional. And then if you're interested, we'll even talk to you about how to become a freelance consultant if that's something you're interested in doing as next steps. So I guess I'll let you talk now and ask me the questions that you've got based on all of that information.
Well, I don't so much have questions, but I really feel this is something I need.